Oh, what movie am I gonna talk about?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? I know.
You've had 5 hours to think about this.
I did, but I was working and also I was reading a really interesting thesis paper
Hmm.
um, on mixed race Asians.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like 150 pages. I'm going to
Jesus
read it tonight.
Christ. That's
It's interesting.
fun.
It's interesting. Oh, I could talk about the fountain. Uh, Godzilla.
Jesus Christ. I'm just gonna play a game on my phone.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to talk about the fountain. I'm going to talk about the fountain.
My Me Undies order has shipped. Thank you. Remember when you asked me how the underwear I bought from MeUndies were?
Yeah.
They're super comfortable and they're super soft.
Uh huh.
Ugh. Yeah, I'm a stupid member now. I feel stupid. But they also just released a new print, which is Back to the Future.
Ooh.
And I was like, I've got to have these. I have to.
There's this guy I was talking to who also buys me undies, and he texted me, "Hey, have you seen Star Wars, specifically Episode 6?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Because my boxers have Ewoks on
Walks on
them."
them.
And I was
He
like,
could have just been like, I'm wearing Ewok boxers.
he literally could have, because he had already told me 5 days earlier that he had underwear with Ewoks on them, and I did not say, "What's an Ewok?" Like, oh, I hate men so much. And then I called him out. I was like, "You don't have a lot of female dirty friends, do you?" And he was like, "No, I don't. Why do you ask?" I'm like, "Because you assume that I haven't seen one of the largest pop culture franchises in like cinematic history. You just
And didn't know
assumed
the
I didn't
name
know."
of the cute little teddy bear that's in it.
Yeah, and then like this bitch,
I
this
love
bitch like
Ewoks.
showed me. He like showed me a picture of the underwear. So he was like, "That feeling you feel, it's jealousy." And I was like, "Why would I be jealous of that when I have this?" So
You can wear Ewok. I can cuddle my Ewok.
literally, like, oh, like this bitch really asked me if I'd seen the finale of the original Star Wars trilogy.
Have you seen episode 6 of the original Star Wars?
And then also, this is like, he knows I watch movies because I asked him like, "So what do you like? What are you into?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm such a huge movie buff. I'm such a huge film buff. I love the cinematography and the art and the everything, yada yada yada." I'm like, "Wow, this guy's really into movies. All right, white boy, who are your favorite directors?" This bitch said Kevin Smith
Ten.
and Christopher Nolan. And I wanted to scream. I was like, "I knew you'd fucking say that, you stupid slut. I knew you would say
I thought he
that."
was gonna say like Tarantino and the other guy.
He brought up
Uh,
Tarantino later. He said, "I feel like Kevin Smith is the poor man's Tarantino." And I was like, "I don't really think Tarantino is rich fair, to be honest with you."
Tarantino's garbage.
And then
You can
I
quote
was
me on
like,
this. Everyone in the world can quote me on this. Tarantino is straight
he
garbage.
is. He's a gross foot fetishist who has a big head. But and I was like,
Miscast.
I don't really like Christopher Nolan that much because I think he's like super pretentious. And I was like, Interstellar is a terrible movie, and like everybody hypes him up for all this stuff. And like we were talking, and then he was like, "Okay, then Miss Nolan is overrated. What movies do you like?" And I was like, "Well, I like."
Knuckle crack.
It's like, I'm more of an animated film person. I really like Japanese animated movies by like Satoshi Kon and Katsuhiro Otomo and like these other people. And I also really like that French guy who did The Illusionist and The Triplets of Belleville. I really like that, and Brad Bird. And then he texted me like, you didn't let on that you liked movies initially, so now I feel kind of dumb. And I was like, good, good. So
You should have felt dumb even if you didn't know anything about movies.
truly, honestly, I also,
Yes.
because there's a part of me that's like, even then, like you like
Stop talking to this horrible person.
I don't text him unless he texts me first. So he's just
Just just leave them on red and then
obnoxious.
don't
Yeah.
respond. That's why I have like 5 friends.
I
Because
don't don't know if there's
the
much of a
worst.
correlation. This is just a guy that I matched with on Tinder who's like, oh
No,
my
I
god,
figured as much.
insufferable. I feel like there are like certain things that intrigue me that you're not gonna want to hear, so I won't tell you.
Thank you.
But yeah, there's like that stuff, which is why I still like haven't fully cut him off. And I'm like, oh my god, you're gonna be insufferable if we hang out in person. Like I cannot just hang out with you because you're gonna drive me up the wall. So, anyways, there's that. All right, but man, I just saw the Godzilla movie, and that one was pretty stupid. So I can talk about that stupid movie, or I can talk about The Fountain, which is Darren Aronofsky, and also very stupid, even though people also have a hard-on for Darren Aronofsky. Let's do... No, yeah, okay, no. I'm gonna go with The Fountain. I'm going with The Fountain. We're gonna talk about The Fountain. Oh, okay, Monze, which one do you want to hear about? The Fountain or the newest Godzilla movie, King of Monsters?
I'm not frozen. I'm just.
I know you're not frozen.
I think I'd rather hear about Godzilla.
All right.
Let's keep it light, you know.
We'll do Godzilla then.
The other one sounds like it's gonna be a chore for me.
The other one's pretty like annoying. They paint a conquistador in a good light.
Yeah, you know I hate conquistadors.
Who doesn't? We know who doesn't. They're not interacting with us.
White people.
Yeah. Anyways, all right, we'll talk about the most recent Godzilla one because that's
cool.
That's a movie that would be fun to watch under the influence because of how stupid it is, but it's like a fun stupid. All right, so I'll do the intro. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of We Don't Watch Movies, featuring me, Corinne, and
me, Monze.
Woo! This week we are talking about a movie I've seen this week. And Monze hasn't seen, called Godzilla, King of Monsters, 2019. Godzilla. I can't believe that movie came out last May. Last May feels like 10 years ago.
Yesterday felt like it's July right now as we record, and someone yesterday was like, "Oh yeah, the year's almost over. It's July." I was like, "It's July." They're like, 4th of July was literally like 4 days ago. What are you talking about? I was like, look, you don't understand.
Yeah. I will say it is my brother's birthday. Woo woo. He's 17. Charlie. Okay. So, Monze, why have you not seen Godzilla, King of Monsters? You saw the first one, so.
The first one?
The Bryan Cranston one.
Is that a sequel to this
one? Yeah!
Oh. Wow. Look. I think we saw that one together, didn't we? The Bryan Cranston one?
I think we did. It was in 2014. Yeah.
And I think I only went to see that because you were like, let's go see it. It's not really a movie I, like, go watch. I'm not, like, big on disaster or, like, big action movies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I saw that and I was like, that looks good. I'd probably go see it. But then I was like, who am I going to go see it with? The only person I know isn't around. Corinne. So I just never went to go see it. But that's got like Billy Brown. What's her name?
Millie Bobby Brown.
There we go.
Yeah.
And it's got that Japanese guy whose face I know.
Ken
whose
Watanabe.
name I don't know. Yeah, and there was someone else in this movie.
Sally Hawkins is in this movie. Vera Farmiga is in this movie.
No, who I was thinking of, because I don't know any of those people.
The guy who plays John Lawrence in Hamilton is in this movie.
That's probably who I'm thinking
of. And then Ice Cube's son is in this movie.
Ice Cube's child.
Yes. I was like, looks... Yeah.
So yeah, I just didn't have anyone to go with, and then I forgot about it. And then my sister was like, my older sister was like, hey, you want to watch this movie? And I was like, oh, it's out already? We can watch it on the TVs? No thanks. So yeah, I just like didn't have an opportunity to watch it, basically.
I see. All right.
And now I learned it was a sequel of that other Godzilla movie that I don't remember at all. So... But I remember the trailer, there was, like, Mothra, right?
Yes.
There were all the other Godzilla monsters.
Yes.
I'm assuming Godzilla is going to fight.
Yes.
Because Godzilla thinks of us as his pets. We tiny humans are the pet of a giant Godzilla, and I think it's adorable.
Yes. See, that's something you remembered from the first movie, because that's when they first introduced that concept. Or, like, when they first, like, said it.
I thought they said it in the trailer for this movie.
Oh, maybe they did say it in the trailer. I was going to say, like, oh, Monze's, like, directly quoting something in this movie.
I'm directly quoting this movie. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it was... I think it was in the trailer.
I think that sounds about right, yeah. Okay, so then you kind of got into it, but, like, what do you think happens in this movie?
I'm assuming they start digging up some more monsters, and they're like, oh, look, we found some more monsters. Maybe they're nice like Godzilla. And then... and then the one Japanese guy is like, I'm the only Japanese person here who knows the truth. These are not our friends. And then all the white people are like, what are you talking about? Godzilla's our friend. Why wouldn't these monsters be our friend? And then he's the one who's telling all of them to stop being white people. And stupid. And then Millie Bobby Brown is...
I like how you said her name.
Millie Bobby Brown is, I don't know, has like a mental connection to one of them, or she like picks up I'm just moving my arm up and down, but I don't know what it is. A connection, like a
frequency, like a radio wave?
Like a frequency, there we go, of these monsters, and then, I don't know, maybe she is secretly a monster. Maybe this is just Stranger Things, but with Godzilla. And then the monsters all escape, and then they set Godzilla free and be like, God, save us, Godzilla. We love you. And Godzilla's like, rah! And then, in order to make up for the fact that we hardly saw any Godzilla last movie, they showed us too many monsters and too much fighting. And then Godzilla wins. Or does he?
Dun,
and
dun,
in the
dun.
end. And that's Godzilla, King of the Beasts. What's this one called?
King of the Monsters.
King of the Monsters.
Okay, there are some things, and then there's some other things.
You said something, and then you said another stuff, and it was all okay.
Some of it is accurate. I think, like, there's some stuff from the trailer where it's, like, obviously they're going to fight. I think well, I'll tell you later. There's, like, a couple stuff. So let's watch the trailer. I'm going to start off with the trailer for this movie. One of my favorite trailers ever.
Okay.
Like,
what are you getting
one of my favorite, like, they released 2 separate trailers. The teaser trailer, amazing. The actual trailer, set to, like, Somewhere Over the Rainbow, I love that trailer so much. Like, they have a Somewhere Over the Rainbow and, like, Icy Skies of Blue. They are both amazing. Godzilla, King of the Monsters has, like, one of the best trailers I've ever seen.
Oh, no. The oil's attacking. Oh, that's pretty.
Yeah.
You think I'm a mountain? Well, I'm a monster. That's Ice. Is that Ice?
Yeah, that's Ice Cube's son.
Ice Cube's son. How do they know the names of all these monsters?
I don't know. I think
is it like legend?
I think they just conveniently call them this, and some of them are legends.
Jesus Christ cannot fight that monster. Maybe it would be Godzilla. Remember last movie? Oh, look, there's 2 Japanese people in this movie.
I think she might be Chinese. I have to look her up.
Oh. 2 Asian people in this movie.
Yeah.
Our planet's already perishing. Maybe we should just let the monsters get us. At least that way it won't feel like it's our fault, you know?
Uh-huh.
Hashtag depressed 2020. Oh, it's that guy from Friday Night Lights. Who people think is attractive, but I don't understand why. Maybe it's the light blue eyes. One king to rule. Them all. Is it bad if I want Mothra to win?
No.
I just think she looks so pretty.
She is so pretty.
So hopefully this all takes place in New York, so I'll be safe and you'll die.
Wow. Alright.
Friendship.
So that's the trailer. Let me pull up the wiki.
I remember that trailer.
Yeah,
it is a very well cut trailer.
Oh, I love that. I love the music. I love the editing. It's so good. Like when it's like da da da, and it's so good.
The hitting of the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love.
Highly recommend the trailer. 5 out of 5 stars.
Yes.
Had a
Trailers.
real good time.
5 out of 5 stars. Just watch the trailer for like 2.5 hours on loop.
Just on loop. You can figure out the entire plot. It's fine.
Pretty much. All right. Do you have any revisions to what you think happens?
Well, Millie Bobby Brown clearly does have a connection with the thing, but it might not be telepathic. She's not 11. She's 12 now. And,
that's it. That's the episode.
But yeah, definitely. So it doesn't seem like they dug them up. It seems like maybe the monsters were like, "Hey, humans, stop treating us like garbage. Well, the Earth like garbage. So we're gonna come out and attack you." So I'm changing my motive for the monsters. Otherwise, it's basically it's just people being stupid and.
Yeah. So you're not too far off, but there's something that you're just not going to be able to call, but you're not too far off. All right. So,
I can't call it if it's not in the trailer.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're very close, but there's an extra element that's like, what? That's just not in the trailer.
Millie Bobby Brown is actually a monster.
Remember when you were like, she's not 11, she's 12? According to Wiki, the character is 12 years old. So...
Oh! I'm so good.
I know. Okay. I do want to see... Yeah, so the Asian actress is playing... Yeah, she's Chinese, and I think she's playing a Chinese character.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Chen and Ling. Because China co-proed this movie. So, they've been co-proing a lot of this stuff. I know Toho, obviously, and then Wanda Qingdao Studios, that's the other one. So, like, they co-proed this, and I think they also co-proed, like, Megalodon and maybe Kong, Skull Island, or whatever.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Oh, that one's awful. I hate that one.
I know, but Tom Hiddleston's just dirty the entire movie, and I kind of just want to see what it looks like dirty for 2 hours.
Monze!
What? It's not anything weird. It's just he's always so clean and upright. I want to see what it looks like with smudges on his face.
And lying down. There's actually one there's actually one great shot that's like absolutely jumping the shark, a ridiculous scene. I was like screaming when I was watching it, but I cannot in good faith recommend the movie because I was stressed out the entire time.
But yeah, you're stressed out all the time. So.
Yeah, but I was way more stressed out during this. Okay, so this movie, I'm gonna try to just talk about it without looking at the wiki. So it opens up right at the end of the first movie, and interestingly,
how does the first movie?
First movie ends with they're in San Francisco, and Godzilla is like destroying it because he's fighting the two Mutos, those like big, ugly, like weird aliens, monster things. So he was like fighting them, and he like takes one and like rips it open and like into it, and it was like amazing. And another one he like rips the eggs off. Anyway, so he's like destroying San Francisco casually, fighting these things.
As one does.
As one does. So that's how that movie ends. So that's in 2014. This movie picks up right in that like 2014 time, and it's like that the guy, the dad character, and he's like screaming, and then Vera Farmiga, the wife. She's holding, like, a young Millie Bobby Brown who's, like, just traumatized, and there's, like, chaos everywhere. The dad's walking around. He's, like, screaming, like, Andrew! Like, he's looking for his kid. He can't find him. So you can put the two pieces together. That kid died. So then...
I figured as much.
Yeah. So now we fast forward to 5 years from then. I don't remember exactly where it picks up, but generally, like, Millie Bobby Brown's, like, trying to make, like, breakfast. She's, like, got an email... I was watching this movie with John, and he was like, oh no, not the exposition on the email, and she, like, gets an email from the dad's like, hey, Madison, how you doing? Here's some, like, wolf pictures from work, and she's reading it, and, like, you see her typing into the email, like, hey, Dad, things are okay, but I'm worried about Mom, and John's like, no, not the exposition through the email, not them telling me through the email. So she's like starting to write the email, and then she hears like the fire alarm go off, and she like slams it shut. And her first dialogue is like shit, 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 shit. And I'm like, of course you're gonna have her start off with that because she was a child actress on Stranger Things who barely said anything and was kind of like fine. And now she's like grown up because now she's saying shit. Yeah, we love that for a child actress. Or am I just judgmental? Anyway, so she's like burning the breakfast, and the mom comes in. She's like, "What's up with this? Like, what have you been doing?" And she's like, "I was looking up recipes." And she was like, "What, for toast?" And she was like, "Oh, you caught me. Dad emailed me." She's like, "Did you email him back?" She's like, "No." And he's like, "Oh, well, like, don't worry about that." And then she tells her daughter, like, "It's finished. I finished it." And Millie's like, "Ooh." And then there's like kind of like this like earthquake thing going on. They're like, "It's time. We gotta go." So they go, and then they go to this like lab area. I don't even know where they are geographically. It's not clear. Maybe it is clear. I didn't pay attention. But they're like here, and they're looking. Oh, I forgot to say, before all this happened, like between the opening scene and like this scene, the opening credits happens, and the opening credits like kind of brings you up to speed of like what happened in the 5 years in between 2014 and 2019. So they're like, "Oh, like the fish or whatever, they're dying, and like what's going on with this? Monarch is doing this. Monarch found something on like Skull Island, maybe. Like we're not sure." They're like little newspaper articles, kind of like piecing things together. So then
Are they just building up to have King Kong and Godzilla fight or something?
Yeah, that's the next movie. The next movie is Kong versus Godzilla.
Spoilers.
Yep. So they're like, so they go over, and we see like Mothra is like in a cocoon, or like Mothra's hatching from an egg. So now Mothra's like this larva, and the scientists are there. Yeah, it's like this like giant caterpillar. And the soldiers are there, and they're like, "Oh no, we're like kind of freaking out." They start kind of shooting at Mothra. Mothra's like, "Oh, what's going on?" Kind of casually starts killing people.
Casually. Oh no, I don't know what's happening. Stomp, stomp, stomp.
And then like the mom is like, "I know how to fix this." So she like grabs like this, like she has this thing called the Orca. It's like this like frequency like thing, audio player thing. Frequency, yeah. So she's like tapping on it or whatever to try to make it work. And she like puts the wrong one at first, but then she puts the right one, and like she's out there, and we're like, she's so stupid. Why is she out here? And then like Millie Bobby Brown's like, "Ah, no!" And she like runs out there, and no one's stopping her. I'm like, where are your safety protocols? Okay, I guess not. So now like both the mom and the daughter are there. They're about to get eat by this like giant caterpillar, but she presses the right frequency. So now the red turns to blue, and Mothra's like, "Fine now." Mothra's like, "Oh yeah, everything's cool." They're like, "Oh wow, I'm gonna go touch this monster now." So she touches it. Everything's cool. It seems cool, but then all of a sudden, boom, these terrorists show up. They're like gunning everybody down, and then like there's like the one scientist that you've like kind of gotten to know is like this like, oh, he's been working with the mom for a while on this, and he's like standing there with his hands up. He's like, "Oh my god, don't shoot!" And then the guy Charles Dance, who is the Lannister king in Game of Thrones, he like just points.
I don't know.
Anyways.
You know I don't know.
I know you don't know, but someone else might know. So then he just like point blank shoots him in the head, and he dies. Like everybody's dead, and then they like kidnap the mom and the daughter, and this guy is like an eco-terrorist. So then Ken Watanabe and Sally Hawkins, who are both in the first movie, Oscar award winning Sally Hawkins now, and Ken Watanabe, and then this other guy, I don't know who the other guy is. They're like at like this like defense meeting or whatever, and the judge lady is like, "Why should we trust Monarch with this stuff? You should be under the military's jurisdiction. I don't even know what you guys are doing. You don't even know what you're doing." And they're like, "We found like 17 of these monsters pop up, and they keep popping up all over the place, and we can't have another Godzilla." And here's where you got it a little mixed up. Ken Watanabe is like, "No, these monsters, we don't know if they're bad or not. We can't just kill them." And the military's like, "No, I think we should kill them because we don't want another San Francisco." And Ken Watanabe's like, "No, this was their planet first, and we're just like living here. We have to learn how to coexist with them. Monarch knows how to handle it." And they're like, "Okay, well if Monarch knows how to handle it, then you definitely should be under the jurisdiction of the military because like we need to know what you guys are doing." And then they get interrupted because they get a phone call about like what's just happened. So like, "Oh, we gotta leave." And then the younger guy is like, "I'm gonna leave you with this video of these two Mutos reproducing for some reason because we're gonna put a sex joke in here for no reason." The writing is so bad in this movie. So They go, and
I'm
then
hot.
we, yeah, right, and then now it's like the dad is like in the middle of like the wilderness somewhere taking photos of wolves because that's what he studies, and so he's like listening to the wolves and they're eating and everything, and he's like, oh yeah, and then this helicopter comes over and he's like, leave me alone, guys, and they're like, no, we have some stuff we need to tell you, so he's like, oh fine.
Leave me alone with the wolves.
So they go to like his
They
house.
understand me.
Literally. So they go to his house, and he knows Ken Watanabe. He knows Sally Hawkins. He doesn't know this other guy, who I also don't know. And he's like, who are you? And he was like, oh, I replaced you after you left. I'm a big fan of your wife's work. And you get
Big
like,
fan of your wife.
actually, he starts off with like, I'm a big fan of your wife, her work, your wife's work, and it's just awkward. And then so you find out that like this guy was working on the Orca because like the Orca has now been stolen. So he worked on the prototype with his wife 5 years ago before San Francisco happened and tore their family apart. And so they're like, we need you because you know how to use the Orca, and and this is also your wife and also your daughter got kidnapped. Just FYI. And he's like, what? And they're like, yeah, we need you to help us find this thing, like keep it out of bad hands. Like you know the most about it besides your wife. And he's like, that thing should have been destroyed. We destroyed it a long time ago. Why is she still working on it? Yada, yada, yada. And essentially what the Orca does is it emits like a noise that communicates to the other monsters, to make them docile. So the idea is if you have the Orca, you can control the monsters. So then the problem is because these eco-terrorists have it, that they can control the monsters. And then so he's like, yeah, I'll go along with you because like I don't know why she's dragging my daughter along with it. I want to like save them because they got kidnapped by these eco terrorists. So they're like, where are they going? Oh, and then they're in this like this big submarine, and then we see John Lawrence and we see Ice Cube Jr. I think his name's O'Shea Jackson. And they're both in there, and then like there's the commander, and then we have Dr. Ling, our second Asian person here. Um, and then this other white guy with the white hair who like looks really old, who is supposed to be modeled after Rick from Rick and Morty. I'm like, okay. So they're all in this like underwater thing, and they're trying to find Godzilla because they think Godzilla is like gonna go after whatever the big frequencies are. I don't remember why they're following him actually. They're just going somewhere. Somehow they think it's gonna lead them to wherever. So then they're, oh no, I remember now. So they're just like trying to figure out where they are. They think that she's in one place or whatever, and then they're in the, I don't even know why they're in the water. Where they were gonna go? Where were they gonna go if they didn't meet Godzilla and figure this out?
I don't know.
The plot? I don't know. I don't know what their plan was. They were just in the water.
I don't know, but you lost me completely.
They were just in the water for some reason, in this giant submersible. They come across Godzilla. They're like, oh no, this big heat signature, Godzilla's here, whatever. They've like got their guns up and the shields up, and then the guy, here's his chance to prove himself as an expert because he studies predators. He's like, no, put the guns down. John's like, how does Godzilla know what a gun looks like? The plot says he knows what a gun looks like, so he's gonna feel less threatened if they're pointing at him. So they're like, he puts them down. And he's like, open the shield. John's like, what is a shield? How does Godzilla know what a shield looks like? I'm like, I don't know, John. He wants to look at him face to face, I guess. I don't understand how this movie works. So then
Stop asking me questions. I know as much as you do.
Well, I've seen the movie before. It's just there's no story reason for why this is happening. So then they open the shields and Godzilla's like right there and he's like pulsing and they're like, oh, we're so scared. And then Godzilla's like just watching and he gets closer and closer and closer and closer.
Godzilla can breathe underwater?
I guess.
Silence you. I was just thinking about it because if he's supposed to be modeled off of like a lizard, right?
Yeah.
It's not like he's modeled off of a reptile, and even then a reptile would need, or unless he is modeled, not a reptile, amphibian. He is modeled off of reptiles. It's not like he's modeled off of an amphibian. An amphibian still needs air though, because
he would need air unless he's modeled off of a fish. Unless he can hold his breath for like just a really long period of time. Yeah. He's deep underwater anyways. I don't know how long he can hold his breath for. But he's just like
an air pocket down there. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, maybe air pocket. So he's like over there watching and everything's fine, and then he like kind of like he either yells or gets really close to it or something, so there's like a jump scare. And then they're like, what was he yelling at? They're like, I don't think he was yelling at us. And the guy's like, oh no, he's being territorial. He's yelling at something else. I'm like, what else is there for him to yell at? But fine,
Mothra!
he's defending his territory. Sure. So then they're like, oh yeah, the guy's like, pull up his projection maps or whatever. Like the only time a predator would be outside of its like territory is if like there's a territorial dispute or another predator. So they run out the projections. They're like, all the projections point to Antarctica, and everyone gets really quiet. He's like, what's in Antarctica? And they're like, Monster Zero. And Monster Zero is like this big boy, bad boy monster, and that's also like where the
big boy, bad boy
monster. That's like where the mom and the daughter and the eco terrorists are also at. They're also in Antarctica. They're like kind of drilling into this thing. And they're like, it's like this 3-headed dragon thing called Ghidorah. Like that's the Ghidorah is in Antarctica. So and then also Godzilla kind of like disappears suddenly. They're like, we lost track of him. And then like the Rick Sanchez sort of character is like, I'm telling you, man, it's the Hollow Earth. He's using the Hollow Earth to like get there so quickly. That's how he's able to just like disappear and just get to places so fast. It's because the Earth is hollow. And I'm like, not the Jules Verne Hollow Earth theory. Okay. So they kind of like they wave them off. They're like, that doesn't make any sense. So
everyone knows that it's a hollow Earth. I've been saying that for years.
Honestly, you really have. So then they get to Antarctica, and they're going over there. They send in like the military. They send in their like troops to I don't know why they're sending them in. I guess because they think the eco terrorists are there, which they are. But they've kind of left. There's like an ambush. They're all getting killed. There's this big fight, whatever, and then the dad sees like his daughter and his wife over there, and he confronts them. He's like, get over. He's holding like the gun. He's like, come over here. He's like yelling at his daughter to come over, and she's like, dad, and he's like, come over here, Madison, come over here. And then the mom's like, no, Madison, remember what we talked about. And she was like, I'm sorry, Dad. And then she leaves and goes with her mom. And then he's like, what? And then the mom's holding like this like controller thing, and she presses it, and then the whole thing like explodes. So they're like, what?
Is she working with the eco-terrorists?
Yes, she is!
Oh my god!
So then they like, cause King Ghidorah is like stuck in this like glacier thing.
Mm-hmm.
So she like clicks on the thing, and like it breaks. And then they somehow manage to get out of the ice thing, and they're like outside. They're not, I don't know why they didn't just run to the airplane immediately. They're just standing there like a bunch of idiots watching this giant dragon like pull its head up. Like first the tail comes out, it's like this rattlesnake tail. John was like, if I saw this, I would have started running. And then this first head pops up. He's like, certainly by this point, I would have started running. And the second one, it's like, by now, absolutely. So, like, the 3 heads are pulling up, like, some, like, Hydra thing. And it looks pretty badass. The dragon looks really cool. I like the design. It's King Ghidorah. What's not to like? So then he's like over there, and it's like, rah. And then so the bad guys are already, like, flying away. And then they have the pulse machine, and the people are still over there, and then the ex-wife is like, oh, but my ex-husband is over there. Well, I'm just going to press it anyways because I have no morals. So she presses it, and and now King Ghidorah is like, all right, I guess I'm going to start fucking shit up now because I'm hearing the sound that's going to make me go aggro. So they start running, and these soldiers over there, they're like shooting at it. King Ghidorah like vaporizes all of them with his electric plasma blast, which is horrifying to watch. And they're like running and stuff. They get onto the airplane, and they like start lifting off, but then like somehow it gets like tossed to the side or something. So they have to like leave this airplane and run to another thing. And
I'm glad they have like 10 airplanes.
I know they have so many. I don't even remember how they left it, but they leave okay. This movie does my girl Sally Hawkins so dirty. She stays behind to help our main dad guy out because he's like trapped in this airplane thing. She like pulls him out, and they're running to safety, whatever. King Ghidorah is going nuts. Oh, there is a moment where like Millie Bobby Brown is like, oh my god, I can't believe my dad's about to die. She like grabs the thing and like turns it off, or she changes it to another thing. So now King Ghidorah is gonna start like targeting their plane, and then everybody else on that plane is like, turn it off, stop it, yada yada. So then they finally like do that. But it buys, like, the good group some time. So now, like, King Ghidorah is back to, like, attacking them. I think Godzilla comes out at one point. Oh, that's right. So like King Ghidorah, before King Ghidorah can like really like kill them or anything, Godzilla pops out of the water and now they're fighting. And then the plane I think gets like pushed before they can take off. So that's why the plane is over there. So they have to like get out and get onto another plane or something. So then Sally Hawkins helps get the guy out and they're running. It's like there's like a main group of like 7 to 10 people running in front of them, and then there's just the two of them with Sally Hawkins in front and the guy behind, and they're running, and then she looks up and screams, and then Ghidorah chomps down on her and like pulls up this chunk of snow, and they like chop it in half and are eating at it, whatever. I'm like, did you just nix my girl Sally? Like, what the fuck? This poor bitch, like, she's stopped behind to save this guy. She's a recurring character. Y'all just killed her like that. You did her so dirty. Oh my god. Like, could you just not afford her Oscar award winning salary anymore? Like, what is this? So they're like eating her, and Ken Watanabe watches this, and he's like, oh my fucking god, because that's his assistant right there. He like drops to his knees. Somehow they get out. I don't remember how they fly out. They just do. And then Godzilla and King Ghidorah are fighting and all that. It's like this. It's like really difficult because both of them, it's like really evenly matched. Like there's a scene where they show Godzilla on one end and Ghidorah on the other. Ghidorah is like twice the size of Godzilla and has 3 heads and these giant wings. He's just OP as fuck. Like he's a cool villain, but he's so annoying. He's like that annoying fucking boss that you have to fight in the video game because you just can't beat him. Like that, he's so annoying. Somehow they get out of there. They leave Antarctica. Now they're like, oh, we picked up the signal ping. Now she's in Isla de Mara in Mexico. So we gotta go there. And they're like, we're getting a call from Isla de Mara in Mexico. And it's her. And now she explains her motivation. And she's like, guys, humans are the virus. We've been killing...
Guys, humans are the virus.
Humans are the virus, which is very, like, hits a little differently right now. She's like, we've been destroying our planet, we've been tearing it apart, look at all this, like, pollution, overpopulation, all deforestation, all these things that we've caused, war, violence, all of this stuff is so bad. So right now what we're planning on doing is we're going to wake up these primal beasts and they're going to take back the earth and they're going to make it better. And yes, some people are going to die, but that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. I suggest you go find a bunker and just wait it out so that we can just like get rid of half the people. And like, and also she was saying like, these monsters like emit radiation, so they've been promoting more plant growth because San Francisco is just covered in plants right now because Godzilla was there before.
Radiation wouldn't right? Like I'm I'm not a scientist, but I'm pretty sure radiation is the opposite.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I thought radiation destroys. Okay.
I think they're thinking like the radiation is a specific type that it just mutates the life form so it grows back faster. She's got like this PowerPoint slide ready to go in this video call that she
I have an evil speech. Oh, the PowerPoint never works. Hold on. How do I... Mom, you're embarrassing me. Hold on. Which is... Oh, no, I have to... Hold on. I have to skip through. Let me full screen. Oh, no, wait. Hold on.
Okay, how do I go back?
That's a weird effect. That's a weird wipe, right? I knew I shouldn't have used that wipe. I'm so sorry. Jesus.
She's just got this video montage ready to go of like this like speed through of the plants taking over San Francisco. It's like, where did you get this? How are you streaming this across the video sharing device? Okay, so she's talking about like, we're the virus. These titans are the cure. Then we keep trying to fight them, but no, this is the planet's antibodies against us. So we have to learn how to coexist with them. Yada yada yada. And it's like, you haven't given the people of Mexico enough time to evacuate from this little town. Like, you're just okay with all these brown people dying? Like, of course you are.
Well, as I always say, brown people aren't people. They're there. They're much like a virus. Hold on. No, wait. Hold on. Wait. I can't think of a metaphor because I'm not a monster.
Yeah.
Also, those are my people. What the fuck?
Yeah, no, it doesn't make any sense. I'm sitting here like, you're really gonna blame the entire human population, most of which is brown and black to varying degrees, and probably most of which are not white, just straight up. You know, you're gonna blame them for the pollution and problems caused by 10 corporations that are owned by white people? You're really gonna do that? Like, bomb fucking Nabisco. Don't eradicate the planet.
Nabisco, you know? My Oreo. Not my Oreo.
Get Coca-Cola. Like, get Unilever. You know, those are the people destroying it.
My Chips Ahoy. What cookie will I eat?
The cookie of freedom. I don't know what that is. It's like a saltine or something. So now they're like,
I'd rather die.
So now they're like running away, and then she like presses the button to like get the wake up the monster that's in Mexico, and the top of this, there's like a manhole like on top of the volcano that just like busts off, and I'm like, was that like the cork to the volcano that they put on?
Why would there be a... Okay. That's weird.
It's just like a lid that just like... And then Rodan comes out of the volcano. Rodan's got this cool, evil-looking character design. He looks like, you know, those like old school, medieval, like kind of like impish jester-looking things. They have like the two horns back here and like a long, like kind of hooked sort of nose. He looks like that. He looks like that. I need to find like a good reference image, but he reminds me of like some sort of like imp, sort of jester harlequin looking like medieval mask monster thing. That's what he looks like. And so he comes out and he's like made of fire. Fun fact, in the original It book, the black boy, I think Michael, I think is his name, he's like, this is what he's scared of. He's scared of Rodan because like, I guess he saw like an old school movie of Godzilla or something and Rodan was in it. That's what he's scared of. So that's why for him the monster looks like a giant bird. But they updated it for the new It, so that's not quite in there anymore. But yeah, so it's Rodan. Every time I say Rodan's name, I think of the sculptor Auguste Rodin, and the thinker. But
you're the only one who.
That's just a Corinne problem.
That's just you, just pulling that out your ass. Like no one else is like, oh yeah, Rodin, that one statue, that one guy.
He's so prolific. But anyway,
no one knows that guy's name.
Rodin. It's because it's spelled like Rodin, but it's pronounced Rodin because he's French. French is stupid. Anyways, so Rodan is coming out and he's like flying over. We just insulted
the entire language and culture, but yeah, sure.
I'm allowed to. I'm 20% French, 25%, but 23andMe says it's only 20. But anyways, so so Rodan's like flying over and destroying all the houses, and like people are evacuating in this moment. They're like running away, and like because he's running, the wind is really fast. So, like that's like that little boy that's about to get like flown away, like that's the scene because the mom, the mom and the boy are like, oh my god, and then the two like Ice Cube's son and John Lawrence like grab him. They're like holding on to like hold on, and then it just like cuts, and then Rodan is happening, and then there's like this big hurricane. So before they were like Ghidorah disappeared into this hurricane, and then they're like, wow, this hurricane just course corrected straight towards Mexico, and they're like, that's no hurricane, that's Ghidorah right there. So, like, the hurricane is caused by the giant dragon. And then Rodan is, like... Rodan, they have the Air Force coming in, and then Rodan is just, like, not having any of it. He's just, like, biting at these things. One guy, they're like, get out of there, eject! And he's, like, looking around, and Rodan's, like, right behind him, so he finally ejects. He flies directly into the bird's mouth, and he just gets completely eaten. Like, he just ejected straight into the bird's mouth, which is, like, oh no, he's dead. And then there's, like, all these planes are, like, around the giant monster, and he just, like... whee! Does a somersault while flying and just takes out every single one of the planes, like just like. So I'm like, this Air Force is useless. And then he's like flying now at the plane that all the main characters are on. They're like, we gotta fly into the storm. We gotta like fly to like get them to like intersect with each other. So they managed to do it just in time. And Ghidorah and Rodan are now fighting. And Ghidorah's like, fuck you, like, I'm the boss now. Rodan's like, alright, I guess you're the boss now. And then Godzilla comes up.
Like, no, I'm the boss.
So now Godzilla and Ghidorah are fighting. And they're like, rah! But it's like getting so intense. And they're having a hard time. and they have to like also rescue like the people, like the refugees from Mexico. They manage to get that because they're on like a second plane. They're like, we gotta like get you up in here. So they do that, and Ghidorah's about to come, like Ghidorah's about to get them. That's when Godzilla comes in to help them out. Because Godzilla's like, my pets, leave them alone. And then the U.S. military is like, we're gonna send in the oxygen destroyer, which is like in the original Godzilla movies. That's how they killed Godzilla with the oxygen destroyer, always underwater. They're like, this will get him. So they're gonna send that in, and they're like, you gotta leave because it's basically like a bomb.
What
It's gonna
is an
kill
oxygen
everything.
destroyer? I'm sorry.
I think it's pretty self-explanatory, Monze. It destroys
Are
oxygen.
we destroying oxygen?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Sure. Okay, yeah, sure, fine,
Yeah.
whatever.
They send in the oxygen destroyer. They drop it into the water while Godzilla and Ghidorah are fighting, and it explodes. All the fish come up because they're dead. And then Ghidorah pops out of the water and flies away completely unfazed. And they're like, but Godzilla's still there, and his vitals are fading. He dies. And they're like, oh no, why did it kill Godzilla but not Ghidorah? And then they realize Ghidorah is an alien. He is not a carbon-based life form. They found out through like these different things that like actually
I was like, what do you mean? How do you? Oh, Ghidorah didn't survive. That must mean he's an alien. That's not my first thought. My thought would have been like, we screwed up. Like we screwed the movie here.
I don't remember.
What?
I don't remember how they came to the conclusion, but they did. They were like, oh, the ancient people talked about this giant falling star alien thing that dropped to the Earth. We don't think he's from the planet Earth. He's an invasive species. He's an alien. He's not carbon-based. He doesn't need oxygen to survive. So they're like, we just killed our best chance at getting rid of it then, because we just killed Godzilla. And they're like, yeah, because Godzilla is from here. And then the woman, the bitch-ass lady, discovers this too. And then, so then now that King Ghidorah he like flies over to the top of the volcano and like does his like shouting thing with like the cross in the front. That's when you were like, Jesus can't fight you. So when he starts like shouting now, and this is when all the other monsters pop up from the ground. They're like waking up because he's like shouting like, all right guys, wake up, we're gonna fuck shit up. And then the eco-terrorist is like, wow, these things are popping up a lot faster than we thought we would. You've been really busy, huh, with that orca. She's like, I'm not doing this. It's Ghidorah's doing this. He's an invasive species. This isn't what we were planning. They're all coming up way too fast. We were just going to do them one by one. My thought was, why would you go for the most powerful apex predator and wake that one up first when you already have Godzilla? Why wouldn't you just try to control Godzilla or like slowly wake up the smaller ones one by one and see like, will one level out the planet? No, let's wake up another one. Why would you go to the most forbidden, powerful one? But anyways, the plot says they need to.
The hubris of man.
Truly. And then Charles Dance is like, don't get upset because it's not going the way you planned. This was your plan after all. And it's like, wow, she came up with this. She came to him to help her do this. She's terrible. And her daughter's like, well, Mom, you're terrible. And they have a fight. And then now they're like, okay, how do we fix this? Because now the world is being destroyed by these monsters. Somehow they find out that Mothra. In China, Mothra, like, cocooned herself in, like, this waterfall thing in China. And now Mothra is about to wake up. And Mothra wakes up, and she has that beautiful unfurling of the wings into the waterfall. And then you see another scientist there who looks just like our other Asian lady character. This is a fun cameo because historically in the Godzilla movies, Mothra has always kind of had like a good relationship with humans. Like she used to like kind of convene with these island people or whatever, and there were always twins that would like speak for her. They used to be like fairies or something. Like these two twin fairies that would speak for her. Like, Mothra says this, and they would like sing together to call Mothra to help them out. So Mothra has always had a very beneficial relationship with humans and speaks through these twins. So now it's like, now we show the character. She's like, oh yeah, I'm a twin. My mother was a twin. My grandmothers were twins. So she's like 3 generations of twins who were involved with Monarch this whole time. So they've had this like kind of connection with this. So I'm like,
Monarch,
you guys,
like Mothra.
Yeah, Monarch is like the overarching.
I figured it out.
You figured it out. You connected the dots. So now we see like, oh, she's a twin. She's supposed to be like, in the future movies, she'll probably have some sort of like connection with Mothra because like that's the cameo. That's historically what they've done. So Mothra shows up in the submarine thing. Like Mothra flies over to them. Somehow they know. And they're like, oh, it's Mothra, and she like is like screaming. She's like, ah! And then Godzilla like kind of like responds, and they're like, oh, he's alive, I guess. And Ice Cube's son is like, are they a couple? And they're like, well, they have a symbiotic relationship, so yes, they're a couple.
They banging.
So then they find out that Godzilla is like on the move somewhere. So, and Mothra knows
where on the moon. I was like, how did he get on the moon?
So he's moving, and Mothra knows where he's going, so they're following Mothra, but also following Godzilla. And now here's where the movie totally jumps the shark. They're following. They realize, okay, so Godzilla, he's radioactive. They're like, what if we gave Godzilla a bomb and exploded it near him so we could juice him up, and then we'll get him to go fight Ghidorah that way? What if we like help him out that way? So they're like, okay, because I don't know, that's what they're thinking. They're like, he's recovering his strength, and we need to make that happen faster. So they're like, all right, we'll do the bomb. So they follow him, and then suddenly they get like sucked into this vortex. And they're like, what's happening? And they, like, kind of crash. And then they, like, get their gauges.
Hollow Earth.
Yes, it's the Hollow Earth. The guy was like, they're like, where are we? And then the other guy is like, it's the Hollow Earth thing. That's what I've been telling you. I was right. We're in the middle of the earth. That's how Godzilla got everywhere. I was right. And, like, the whole theater, I think, laughed when this happened. I was like, you're shitting me. This is canon now. Jules Verne's Hollow Earth is canon now. And then, so now they're like scuba diving along, following after Godzilla through the middle of the Hollow Earth. And what do they fucking see? They turn the cameras on. Oh, there's a face. There's a statue. They're seeing ruins. I was like, no. It's Atlantis. They find Atlantis. They find the lost city of Atlantis in the middle of the Hollow Earth. And they're like, what is this? It looks Egyptian. It looks Phoenician. Like, no, it's so much older. It's Atlantis. And I'm like, what? And then they're looking at these, like, pictograms of, like, Godzilla and Ghidorah and whatever, and the fucking Chinese scientist is like, the stories are true. And I'm like, you can't, like, make that. You've been looking at pictures from all these other cultures, and you weren't able to get that the stories were true there, but suddenly you see this new one from Atlantis that you've just glanced at, and it looks like your other ones, and now this is the verification that you need, that this is all true. You guys are bad historians and archaeologists. So they're, like, going along. Bad. They're going along, and at some point the radiation is, like, too high. I guess they're in the middle of the core of the Earth or some shit. So then the guy's like, I don't want to... The old guy with the white hair and the glasses is like, I don't want to go further because I still want kids someday. And we're like, all right. And then they send these, like... Right? They send these drones forward. 2 of them die out. 1 of them manages to get closer. They see Godzilla is resting near this highly nuclear, like, magma. There's, like, an air pocket. There's an air pocket in the middle of the earth. And he's, like, resting there. That's how he's breathing. And he's, like, feeding off the nuclear heat source that is the core of the earth. So... And then the thing dies. And they're like, all right, so do we still need to launch the missile in there? This is how he's feeding. They're like, well, it could take years. So, yeah, we still got to launch the missile. And then the military guy's like, bad news, guys. During the crash, we can't launch the missile. And they're like, can we, like, deploy it another way? They're like, no. You'd have to manually drag the missile over, which is a suicide mission because it is too hot and it's super radioactive. Guess who volunteers? Ken Watanabe. The writers thought it was a good idea to get an older Japanese man to volunteer to drag a nuclear bomb over to Godzilla and surely die from radiation poisoning or the ensuing explosion that this nuclear bomb is going to cause. The writers thought this was a good idea because he's Japanese, so he has a special connection with this Japanese monster, so how fitting would it be for a Japanese person to sacrifice themselves for this Japanese monster, not even considering that the Japanese monster was created initially as a metaphor for the atomic bomb and for Japan to cope with it in the form of a monster. Like, oh my god, the writing is so... Anyways.
He's not that old.
Why are you sending Ken Watanabe instead of this old-ass guy with white hair who is surely at least 65, who is claiming that he still wants children? No, he can go! The alcoholic old white Rick Sanchez character can go. He was right about Hollow Earth. He can die happy. Like, and then moments before this, the white dad guy, he's like still mourning the loss of his son, and he's like, how do you deal with it? And like Ken Watanabe is like looking at this like stopwatch that's broken. So I'm assuming like, oh, this stopwatch must be broken because like either Godzilla, like it broke during when Godzilla first attacked Japan, or it broke during the atomic bomb. You know, like it just like closed it, which means he has like a tie to that through a family member. And Ken Watanabe's like, yo, you know, sometimes the way to confront the demons is to just just confront them and accept them and like live with it. You know, sometimes it's the best way to deal with grief. And the white guy's like, you really believe that? And I'm like, you're really asking this Japanese guy who has a hit, like Japan has a complicated history with America, and America literally blew up a bomb in Japan, and entire like multi-generations of Japanese people had to learn to deal with that grief and move on, and you're asking this Japanese guy if he really believes this thing? Like, what? The writing, oh my god. Anyways, so he's like, nope, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go sacrifice it because they didn't give me a contract for the third movie. So they put him they put him in the thing. He's got the little bomb. He like goes over there. He's like dragging this nuclear bomb up to Godzilla. He sets the timer on, and he like walks over and he like takes off his helmet, and he like takes his glove off to turn the thing on. I'm like, what? But he's probably like, I'm gonna die anyways. So he walks over to Godzilla, who's sleeping. He takes off his helmet. He like touches Godzilla. Godzilla looks at him. He has this moment with Godzilla. He's like, goodbye, my friend. And then the bomb explodes. He dies. And Godzilla is juiced up and ready to go. Nah, he's pretty dead. And then they managed to
see him in the third movie.
I hope so. They managed to like swim away. And now it's like time for the final fight. Meanwhile, while this bullshit is happening, some other bullshit is happening. Millie Bobby Brown thinks that it's a good idea to take the orca, which apparently is not guarded at all. It's just so unattended. She grabs it. She leaves the bunker that they're in. Turns out she's in Boston. She runs to Fenway Park. She goes into like the area, like the baseball stadium. She hooks the orca up to the speakers. She starts submitting a specific type of frequency. So now all the monsters have stopped like destroying things, and now
how can the monsters hear the orca from so far away?
You know, they explained it that they have sonar like whales, but they failed.
Your face and the way you are talking, you're so. You know, I just like thinking about this now that you mentioned it, because you said she's in Boston, but Mothra was in China, and I'm just like.
No, but see, they said that they have sonar like whales. The reason sonar fucking works for whales is because water is a really good conductor for sound, and sound can travel further and longer in water than it can in air. That's how sonar fucking works in the water. That's why we don't have sonar above the ground. That's why sonar is for submarines and dolphins and whales, and the only land equivalent is fucking bats. And I'm sorry, but they cannot communicate over multiple thousands of miles. Ghidorah is off in who knows wherever. He somehow hears this thing from Boston. Ghidorah is in Washington, D.C. That's where that fucker is right now. He hears all the way in Boston, which I know is probably like 300 miles away at least. He hears it and is like, you know what? Someone's fucking with my plans to fuck up the earth. And the fuckers in Arizona can hear it. The people in the other continents can hear it. They're like, oh yeah, I hear that in the air somehow magically. We need to stop destroying things. That makes no sense. And then so their whole idea is like the whole point of why the orca works is we're submitting an alpha frequency. So they hear an alpha noise, so they stop. Because the guy explains like what Ghidorah is doing. They're moving like a pack. They're attacking these specific areas because they're moving like a pack. They're destroying everything like wolves. Because in pack animals like wolves and in killer whales, they all follow what the alpha says. But that science is fucking wrong, because the original scientists who studied the wolves and promoted the whole alpha male, alpha female mentality actually found out later by going back to study it that there is no individual like random, like there's no like pecking order, like you can't have like another wolf come in and take over a pack. The alpha wolf is just the father. The pack is just a family. And this is true for all pack animals. So the alpha male is just the dad. That's why they listen to him, because he's literally the father of all of the animals in the pack. And the alpha female is the mother of all the animals in a pack. That's why you have so many issues with things like SeaWorld, where they grab orcas and killer whales from like completely different like cultural like pods, and they put them all in one spot because they're speaking different dialects, and they don't know, like, I don't know who you are, I'm not related to you, I don't know what your culture is. So that's why they fight each other all the time. And the same can be said in zoos as well. And even then, zoos are not a good representation of how these animals work in the wild. So while there might be a pecking order of like independent things trying to establish like an alpha or whatever within there, it's because they're dealing with a completely artificial environment. Whereas in the real world, in the natural world, these packs are just families. Like, they're just families and extended families. That's why they listen to the alpha, because the alpha is literally their father. So, end rant. So it's bad science. Bad science.
So sonar.
So okay, the sonar doesn't work. The pack thing doesn't work. The alpha thing is shit. That's your mini science lesson. So they're going in the sonar. Millie Bobby Brown is like on the roof looking for where Ghidorah is. I'm like, why didn't you just leave this here and then run back to the bunker so you would be safe? Why are you fucking staying in this 90% glass baseball like stadium thing or whatever? Anyways, Ghidorah shows up as like the storm or whatever, and she's like, oh no, I'm hiding. And it's like, bitch, he can see you. So now Ghidorah is like fucking shit up in Boston, and Millie Bobby Brown is there. Everyone's convening in Boston. DC is also, like, fucked up already. Like, he went there and was like, fuck the U.S. and capitalism, rah. Which is, like, it's the one good thing you've done this entire movie. So... Godzilla eventually shows up. It's kind of a blur at this point. There's just a lot of fighting. And then like Rodan comes up to kind of help with but then Mothra comes in with the assist. So Mothra is fighting Rodan, and it looks like Rodan is like really putting it down on Mothra, but Mothra like impales Rodan with a little stinger on her butt, and she like also impales him with her sharp little like feet, and she pushes him over, and we're like, yes, Mothra, you did so good, we love you, you're my queen. Godzilla is fighting Ghidorah. It's like a rough, it's a throwdown. Meanwhile, they find Millie Bobby Brown, they grab her, her parents are working together to fix the orca, and they're trying to figure it out. Oh, there's like some bullshit about like, oh, I know what the last frequency is that she put in here, the unique sound that she made, it's the human frequency. I don't know what the point of that was. Like, maybe, like, you're communicating to Godzilla by putting us in there, and that's why he responds positively to us, or we're another apex predator. I don't know what the point of saying, like, oh, the frequency I didn't know was humans. That's how she made the sound. They don't do anything with that. They just say it. And I'm like, I don't understand the point of this. So they're fighting, and then Godzilla's about to go thermonuclear, so they have to get out of the city really quickly. But they also need to buy themselves some time so that, like, I don't know, Godzilla doesn't blow up Boston. So they're like, we're gonna bring the orca.
Would it really be that bad if Godzilla blew up Boston?
I don't think so. So they're like getting onto the plane, and then the mom is like about to get onto there, and then she like has this moment, and I'm like, of course you're gonna redeem the white lady. So she like stands there, and she's like, do I get onto the plane with my daughter, with my husband, and maybe like be forced to face the consequences of my actions and do the difficult thing of growing from this and learning from it and maybe regretting it for the rest of my life, but at least I'm like putting in the effort to grow and realize all my mistakes as a human being? Or do I become a martyr and not feel that at all? She's like, I'm gonna be a martyr. I'm gonna traumatize my daughter for the rest of her life, and at least I'll get to die doing something good. Yeah. So she goes into the car and like floors this Jeep Wrangler. I don't know, like maybe 90 miles an hour. I don't know how fast that thing goes. She puts the thing on. The daughter's like, come back, and they're like, no, we have to go. So she's driving as fast as she can. She's like, oh no, I'm driving, and Ghidorah's like following after. I'm like, this car cannot go any faster. Eventually, like, something happens, the car, like, falls or whatever, and then she's, like, laying there, and the orca thing is there. Something happens, And then eventually Godzilla goes like fully nuclear. Like he just because like Ghidorah had kind of like fucked up Godzilla, and then also like Mothra was trying to like protect Godzilla, and Ghidorah like blew like fire breathed Mothra, like vaporized Mothra away, which is like no, but she'll be back. So then Godzilla comes back and he's like, "Oh, you killed my girlfriends. You're fucking with my pets." Like, no. Thermonuclear. He just full on like radiation. Like he's like walking and shit is melting. It's kind of cool. And then he like breathes out. He does something. He like breathes, whatever at like Ghidorah. And like the first time, like kind of vaporizes half of him. The second time, fully vaporizes him. Oh, there is a scene where like the head gets cut off at some point, but then the head grows back, which is gross. And then here he like fully vaporizes him, and we see from the aftermath Godzilla is just like horking down like the last head, which is still alive, so he eats him. And now Godzilla is the king of the monsters, and yeah, that's happening. And they're all like, "All right, you're the king now." And Godzilla's like, "All right, go back as you were. Go back to where you were and stop fucking up the humans."
As you were.
We're meeting up in the middle of the Hollow Earth apparently. And then that's kind of the movie. I don't even like it just kind of ends. So that's Godzilla saved the day. Yay. And then there's like a little post-credit scene where the eco-terrorist like goes somewhere and they're like, "Oh, this stuff is hard to find, we can't. He's in Mexico." And they're like, "There's no fish, like our livelihood is gone, so people are interested in buying this stuff." And they find they find the head of Ghidorah, like the dead head of Ghidorah that he like bit off or like in the middle of the movie, and he's like, "Perfect, I'll take it." There is this great scene where when the mom finds out Millie Bobby Brown like left with the orca, she was like, "Where's Millie?" And like, "Where's the orca?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, it's gone." And he like stands there, he's like, "Wow, I wonder who could have taken it." And like the sassiest way possible. I'm like, this guy like just does not even. He's just sitting in his bunker like, this fucking white lady asked me to do her dirty work for her, and I'm doing it. She's upset because she's facing the consequences of her actions. She doesn't get anything. Why am I doing this? I'm just gonna play solitaire or whatever. So but yeah, that's the movie. That's pretty much how I remember it ending. It's really long. It's like 2.5 hours. It's really stupid, but the fights are okay. There's more fighting, but it's mostly other monsters, not Godzilla. But he does throw down when he needs to.
That's what Godzilla's there for.
Yeah. So
to throw down.
I think the fight scenes in Pacific Rim are better, but the fight scenes here are pretty
But you
decent.
also hold Pacific Rim to like such a high standard.
Yes, I do hold Pacific Rim to such a high standard, and it exceeds those high standards.
It exceeds the standard.
So, yeah, honestly, viewing the movie as just Godzilla is just like doing his own thing, and his fucking pet lizards keep coming over to him and are like, "Hey, dude, help us!" Like, we're just like his pets. If you view us as his pets, it kind of cutes the movie up. Like, especially when he's like dying, it's like, imagine you're like in your room and your like pet hamster comes over dragging like a burrito bomb. That is
Here's a burrito bomb, Godzilla.
That's going to like destroy your entire house, because the bomb destroys the entire remnants of the civilization of the once great Atlantis. It's like you just discovered these priceless ruins, and
yeah,
you
they
just
discovered it and they're over it.
So imagine your hamster comes in with like a burrito bomb that completely destroys your house, but replenishes you, and like right before it happens, it like walks up to you and like touches your face with a little hamster. And like some other bitch person is like terrorizing your hamsters. You're like, "Hey, those are my hamsters. Leave them alone."
Those are my hamsters. How'd you get into my house? Why are you touching my hamsters?
So yeah, that's the movie.
Wow.
It's not good, but it I feel like if you're drunk or not fully level-minded, maybe you're like just sleep deprived or something, and you watch the movie, it becomes more fun. Like, it's a movie that's fun to watch if you do not take it seriously at all, and it's also really fun to roast if you are taking it seriously. So yeah.
Huh.
Thoughts?
I honestly mostly just want to see the monsters, which was the only reason I wanted to watch it in the first place. Like, the idea crossed my mind to watch it.
Yeah.
Which it sounds like there's plenty of monster fights.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm not in there for the characters at all.
No, there's, like, it still has the same problem as the first movie where it focuses too much on the humans. And it's like, I don't care. I don't care. I'm over, like, I found Millie Bobby Brown annoying, to be honest. At one point she, like, screams at Ghidorah. I'm like, I don't care. Like, I don't care about this moment. Godzilla shows up behind her. She's, like, smiling. Like, yeah, I knew you'd come. I'm like, I don't fucking care about this. I know you're America's sweetheart because you're 11, but I could not care less about your character right here. Like, a lot of the people are just really unappealing. Ken Watanabe was one of the only, like, decent ones. Half of his dialogue is just him saying Godzilla. Which is like, come on, you're underusing this dude. And yeah, it's just dumb. But my favorite part is when Hollow Earth turns out to be correct and they find Atlantis, because it just absolutely jumps the shark. I'm like, this is ridiculous and I love it. This is hilarious. What are the implications? And Mothra. Mothra is the best character. I love Mothra.
Yeah.
So
Mothra sounds pretty cool.
Truly unproblematic. Sweetheart.
Okay.
Yeah.
I give it a 3 out of 5 stars.
I think that's a fair rating. I think that's what I would give it.
Yeah. 3 for the fights. It's like a 5 for the fights and a 0 for the people. And it's just like, here's the 3.
It does.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of those stories, especially when you're coming from, like, you're Americanizing it and you're trying to add, like, Western values to that stuff, like, all of that gets lost in translation.
Yeah.
And then you're trying to, like, be like, well, we're trying to make it like this and trying to make it more edgy, or we're trying to make it, you know. But at the end of the day, like, even, like, no one goes to those movies for the story. No one goes there for the characters. You go there for the big monsters, and you go there for the big fights.
Yeah.
And then, like, all those little nuances, right, like, from the Japanese version, right, like, you know, because that's your culture, and those are the things you sort of pick up on.
Well, it's not my culture, but yeah.
No, I know not you specific. I'm not saying you specifically.
Yeah.
I know you're not Japanese. Wait, what? I'm just saying, like, in general, right?
Yeah.
Like, if, like, there's context within, like, the things that you watch and you, like, things like that.
Well, like, Godzilla started off, like, in the original movie, Godzilla meant something very different than what he is now. Like, he was, like, that movie was very serious because it was, like, a metaphor allegory for the atom bomb happening in Japan. He's like this force, except he's kind of framed as like a force of nature, but kind of like sort of man-made or whatever. So it's like, how does this country deal with it? And then the subsequent movies were very kind of like in the Power Rangers style. It's like, oh, it's just Godzilla. He's like we love Godzilla, so now we're gonna make him like a little less serious of a threat or something, or maybe he's a good guy, or maybe he's helping us, or maybe he is attacking us. But now it's more about, like, it turned into about just like the fighting and the destruction and like what's another monster we can give him to fight. So it turned into that because people liked him so much. And then America kind of shat the bed with the 90s one. And then with this...
don't like Matthew Broderick?
I haven't seen that one, but I've heard it's not great.
Yeah, I've only seen, like, I think I told you, like, maybe bits and pieces of it.
Yeah.
He's wearing, like, a spacesuit. They're all wearing, like, these weird spacesuits throughout it. That's all I remember. Yeah.
And then there was Shin Godzilla, which I watched. And that one was kind of more in the vein of the original Godzilla. It was a very updated Godzilla monster. And I think it kind of reflects more, like, the current, like, how do we make Godzilla, like, modern? Like, well, what would that look like, you know? So that was a really interesting way for them to look like it, because now it was more around, like, power plants, nuclear power, and he was, like, constantly mutating. So that was a really interesting film, you know, especially, like, from the Japanese perspective, how they are treating him. I don't know if they're going to make more off of that. And then this one, it just felt like they, like, the first movie, the real problem was they would be like, oh, they're about to fight, and then we cut to news footage of it, and they just only focus on the humans. It's like, I'm not watching this for the humans. And the story is just, like, doesn't quite resonate as well, because, like you said, like, they're making a Western story about a Japanese monster, which is built from Japanese storytelling and Japanese, like, culture and context and concept. And now they're trying to build
why a lot of, like, when they're like, oh, we're gonna do this movie, like Your Name, like like
Yeah.
the right. They're like, we're gonna make an American version. I'm like, well, like a lot of what goes on in that movie, you can't really translate well to like an American or Western story. Like you're gonna lose a lot of what makes that movie and that story really special and really interesting.
Yeah.
But like even just in general, like whenever they're like, oh, this is this Mexican movie, this is this Chinese movie, we're gonna do the American Western version.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't need to, because it's already been done and it's been done well.
Yeah.
And a lot of what you will sort of convert is gonna be lost.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense because they want to make it American because they're like, there are certain things in here, like, because humans are humans, there are always going to be certain things that resonate with everybody.
Yeah, there's going to be,
no matter where you're from, right? That's why, like, if like a Mexican movie or like a Korean movie is going, like, if people really like it from outside of those countries, it's like, yeah, that's what resonated with you. But they are also made within those cultures, which adds extra nuance to it for people of those cultures to watch. And also, if you're outside of those cultures, that's something for you to learn and look into and stuff. If you make it American, I know they are making it American because they're like, it resonated with me and I want to make an American version. But it's like, but you're going to lose all that extra stuff just because, like, you're remaking it because it resonates with you, but not all of the themes are going to hit, and you're going to add extra stuff, and it's not going to be the same movie. Just make a different movie with a similar premise, Yeah,
so, or just watch the movie you liked and not focus on trying to remake it into a westernized American version. America's shit anyway.
Yeah. So, but with this, it was mainly just like, I want to watch the monsters fight, which there was a lot of it, just so much.
Yeah.
So long. So much annoying.
2 hours worth. You wanted more? We gave you more.
They also gave me more of the stuff I didn't want, which is...
Well, you gotta fill in the holes,
dialogue. Yeah. I would give it a 3 out of 5 as well, or like a solid, like, 50%. I like watching property damage, so when they're fighting in the cities, I enjoy that. I don't really like creature violence, though, so it's very mixed emotions.
Okay.
That's why my favorite movies are the natural disaster movies, because it is pure property damage. So, but...
Interesting.
Yeah. Let us know if you've watched this movie or any of the Godzilla movies, and which one is your favorite Godzilla movie or monster movie.
Or which one do you hate the most?
Ooh, yes. Let us know which one you hate the most. Yeah. Where can you find us? Where's the Twitter? Isn't it We Don't Watch Movies?
It's at Don't Watch Movies on Twitter.
Yeah.
Or you can find me at Magic Monster. Also on Twitter. Corinne.
You can find me at Corinne is Korean on Twitter and Instagram. Yeah. Yeah. So that's the episode. I don't know what we're talking about next week.
No idea.
No, we'll figure it out. We'll let you guys know. If you have suggestions, let us know below. And yeah. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you guys next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.